Welcome back, Internet users. We're here to talk about the season finale of Foundation, The Leap.
The finale.
Finally.
We made it.
Bittersweet.
Yep. This will be our last review of the season, obviously.
However,
much more to come beyond that.
Indeed.
Shall we get into this review?
Let's get into it.
Okay.
We have put this high up on the list of intros never to skip. They skipped it for us.
Yeah.
What was that about? That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like my whole routine is disrupted. I rely on that intro to kick start me into the review. What am I going to put up here now?
The cosmos. The swirling cosmos that we got instead.
I think I'll just put Hugo doing his cool walk. Because he's so cool.
So we start with the comforting voiceover of Gale.
Did you like this line about going to sleep, souls wander?
Yes.
Nice. Okay. So we get to see Harry's bespoke coffin again.
Boy, oh boy, it does not disappoint.
I knew there was something with the bespoke coffin.
I mean, how could you not? However, the tricks.
Wow. I mean, yeah.
The tricks and treats.
Yeah, we had guessed something like a compartment, maybe to revitalize him. This goes beyond my imagination was capable.
It also makes the waking up of the coffin so interesting. All the things he says about the null field, just being there to protect him, and I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit. It's just, of course.
Because it's protecting him, not the vault. He's the vault.
The precious cargo.
The precious cargo is him, yeah. So he takes his nanobot pill, which digests his body and reconstitutes it into the vault.
That takes bespoke to another level. It's like when people get diamonds and cheese made of their ashes or the ashes of their loved ones.
Right. I told myself for this review I was going to stop being so hard on this show because I feel like sometimes I'm a little overly critical, and that could get annoying if you're actually enjoying yourself. Not that we're not. I think we both are. Maybe a small nitpick I'll put in here. He doesn't waste any time in doing the conversion. They kick the coffin off the ship and it's heading towards the sun, and he just makes a course correction and immediately starts dissolving into a vault.
30 feet from a burning star.
No one saw that out the window?
I was going to say who on God's green earth would be staring out the window at a receding coffin, but he is a cult leader.
Right.
These people are wackadoodle for him, but I'm willing to bet it wasn't top priority.
Yeah.
Here comes Harry telling us the history and debunking the myth of how these two planets came to be at war.
The first betrayal. And thousands since. He only addresses that first one. He's got to go recharge. He doesn't have much time to deliver exposition.
That's true. Good point. They're going to need quite a few counselors and mediators on this planet.
He so casually tells them, "Oh, I lied."
Mary is heartbroken. Mary, is that her name?
Yeah, as I'm sure a lot of them are.
I don't know. This mission is so much cooler. Make a time capsule or start a rebellion? Come on.
Right, but for the same reasons that Mary's explaining, I'm sure everyone else feels the same way. They were there to, that's their function. Like, that's what they were trained to do, is build a time capsule. Now they're like the frontline soldiers.
But they're not, though. They are the first generation to go dark. So really all their responsibility is to keep this planet functioning, thriving, and dope. They're not going to have to do any fighting. This is like a plan centuries in the making.
Right. So they're like the army builders, the ship builders,
Yes.
They're the fortification.
Shipbuilders. I like that analogy. This is like when everyone was on the ship heading to Terminus, preparing to live, but it's way cooler because now they're on a planet. and not stuck on a stinky ship. It's just like take two, preparing to have an underground secret society that the Empire literally doesn't even know exist.
Because of the mega flare plan, which Hugo is so gung-ho for.
Okay, A, the coolest disappearing act ever, and B, Harry's second time faking his own death. Now on a much grander scale.
Will he make another copy of himself this time?
Copy of a copy of a... You have to play the 9 Inch Nails when I sing
That's a royalty audit.
I also thought the revelation that Harry was curating people, creepy, spot on, totally fits.
Very
and,
Harry.
Catch this, it also bolsters his speech in the laundry room about everyone is important. Because, yeah, you need some good rugged stock to bolster that gene pool. So, yeah, definitely you need a solid laundry room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, it makes that giant bank of every fertilized embryo from 4 years in space very handy.
I mean, they would have needed it either way, but yeah.
I mean, that is the hardest part of populating a planet. It's just the conception.
Or an army.
Unless they have incubators, that's a joke. Humans have to incubate those things, and
it's complicated.
Tricky.
Yeah. Much more complicated than the old...
I mean, either way, it's 9 months of...
The old, All right, moving on.
Doing it.
This outcropping that they're hanging out on, Salvor and her mom. No, you know what? I'm not going to say anything bad about that. That's a perfectly normal place for two people to have a conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, it overlooked the whole encampment.
Quite convenient. So, do you think that all this talk of timescales and the fact that this is going to take centuries, is that setting us up for what to expect for next season? Are we going to see any of these people? Are we going to see them old? Are we not going to see them at all?
I think next season we will get their departure. This was not enough of a departure from everyone.
I agree.
The strange thing is now we have... Well, I'll save it till we get to Gale, but now we have conflicting time periods, which I guess we have already had.
Absolutely. That could be the next advancement. That could be the next installment we get. We could pick up 138 years from what we're doing. It would be kind of funny to leave Empire there. Just pick up 138 years later.
I expect that they will.
Really?
I don't know that we have anything left to pick up with Empire. Oh, okay. We may need to see Day's legacy play out now that he knows that he may be altered as well as Cleon. But we'll get into it. I think we should finish up Salvor first.
Harry is not curious about Salvor at all. He's frequently saying psychohistory is not about individuals' behaviors. But then predicting individuals' behaviors anyway, which I find maddening. I get that someone as important as Salvor existing without him knowing about it is going to hurt his pride, but still, he's still a thinker. He's still, I want to say, a scientist, but there's no curiosity. He's so intimidated by this unexpected thing that he can't even be like, tell me more about your visions and your dreams. Furthermore, how does his plan even work without Salvor?
Well, his plan just needs the 3 pillars to succeed.
Who was going to get the Invictus if not Salvor? Who was going to get close enough to the vault with the Prime Radiant if not Salvor? And so this guy's just like, weird that you're here. Totally no big deal. I got to get back to my port.
He's saying that the vault woke up because the Anacreons, the null field expanded when the Anacreons landed. That woke up his consciousness. But Salvor activated the Prime Radiant to decloak the vault. What? Now you have me confused. I wasn't thinking about it until now.
Sorry, I know how frustrating that can be, but oh boy.
Yeah, you're right. But I was going to say, it fits so well with his personality because now we know he's a liar.
I completely agree. It didn't make me any less mad. I wasn't like, oh, this is so out of character. I was like, oh, you're a jerkhead.
It's probably back to what you said in an earlier review about him being just a cult leader who manipulates people. It's not actually that he can predict minute.
And when it looks like he is, it's actually sleight of hand and manipulation in real time, which he can't do with someone necessarily on a super long time scale.
So Rowan is burying Farah, and they plant the tree together, and we get to see a time lapse of the tree growing. But then we just cut back to a different spot on Terminus back in the other time. Because we were like, oh, we're going to skip forward now. And
yeah, but not right now.
It was like it skipped ahead a week when Hugo was a captain and Salvor was a mayor prospect. That's not enough time for a tree to grow. I don't care what space tree you've got from the Talalin forest.
It takes months to grow those trees.
What? Am I just in the weeds again?
I thought it would get bigger. They didn't go very far. Like, I was waiting for some kind of really impressive, massive tree, and it's like, oh, like a teenager tree.
Like Avatar.
I just wanted a big, regular tree.
Rowan's like, I'm planting a tree for all of you to live in. You're going to need more room now that we're all three allied.
The Anacreans are going to live in the giant tree.
Right. They're the tree people. Captain Hugo.
Oh, he's so cool. The walk, the sparkly blue eyes.
Those twinkling blue beauties. A lot of screen time for Polly, too. I don't need this much Polly.
Why are child actors so repugnant?
Wow, repugnant? Maybe it was just to set up the line where Hugo can go piss off Polly.
Then we find out that her mama is Gale, and we know Gale has some psychic abilities herself. And does Harry put any of this together? Does he have any suspicions? Is he like, oh, I gotta go brute? Is that why he's playing it so coldly? He's like, I gotta go do the math.
I don't think so, because it seems like from the get-go, Gale and Raisha's relationship has just completely ruined everything Harry has been working towards, which would also make Salvor a part of that.
And remember how much he wanted to study Gale.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he grasped the full implications of her, she's like visions, and he's like, cool, you get visions. I get it.
Did she tell him that Gale is her egg, Mom?
No.
Okay, so he doesn't know that.
He doesn't know that.
I bet that would have made him salivate.
Yes.
If he'd known.
Yes.
Little did he know.
Did you say little did he know? Yes.
I've taught entire seminars on little did he know.
Do you know what that means?
Little did he know means there's something he doesn't know. That means there's something you don't know. Do you know that?
She packs up her nightmare whistle and her prime radiant and heads off to the stars.
Yeah, without Hugo.
Yeah, you want to talk about their goodbye, or they say goodbye?
They do.
Heartfelt.
Yeah, they used their hearts. Also remember, he's 70.
All right, he can live. He'll be fine. We'll see Hugo.
He'll just have to keep jumping around in the Invictus.
Some powerful stuff going on with Empire here.
Day is back to pass judgment upon Dawn. But Day is freaking on one. Day has returned from the spiral, and his immaculate ruse against the
Luminous Council.
Just riding high. Untouchable.
Yeah, we wondered what he would bring with him from that experience. Looks like a lot.
He goes in to talk to Dawn, releases the cuffs, and he says, your DNA's been altered in 12 ways. He says a dozen, but he doesn't say a dozen. He says a dozen.
Dozens of ways.
No.
Lots of ways.
A dozen.
A dozen.
That's an exact number.
Your DNA has been altered a baker's dozen ways.
That's also why I don't like the word decimated, because it usually means totally destroyed, the way people use it. But it originated as killing 1 in 10 soldiers.
Oh, I just learned about that, yeah.
And that's a 10% reduction, not like laying waste.
It was a Roman thing to instill loyalty, fear, and 9 of the soldiers would kill the 1.
I didn't remember that detail.
Yeah, they do it. I didn't know that was called decimation, though.
Well, Deci,
That makes sense.
a tenthie.
Dawn's trying to convince Day here that he may feel the same way inside, just being a part in a long line and following a script, which plays heavily on what Day has just experienced. So he's got an opinion here. He's ready for this.
What do you think Day's answer is to his own question? Is a flawed copy more unique or just destined to fade away? Which he asks before he knows he is also a flawed copy.
Initially, before we realized that they had been tampered with, we were postulating that the genetic differences was just a breakdown in the cloning.
Degradation.
I would have sided with the flawed copy. I think that it's like, I've seen it before. I can't think of a specific example, but it's like, oh, Jurassic Park. They genetically modify them so that they're all female. And then, life finds a way.
Oogenesis.
I liked that as a concept for the genetic dynasty. Life will find its own way to deviate from the process.
I do like that. That is poetic. I'm not sure it's any less poetic having been enacted by a human.
I think you're right. It plays very well to psychohistory and the concept of like large scales, causing big movements and change, like inevitabilities.
We are still a species after all, not just individuals. I heard jealousy in that question. Day's rage later at finding out that he too is from a damaged sample, I don't think that negates it. I think you can be jealous because you're not a thing and then find out you're the thing and be mad about it. Humans are complex.
I could see that. Garden Girl Azura. She's shrouded and shackled.
The alliteration is strong in this one.
She's already getting a taste of her fate here. Well, not a taste. She won't be getting any tastes.
I managed to kind of forget about that.
The sentence that he is laying upon her is brutal. I don't know why that really... It's like when you see a really messed up video on the internet and it stays with you for a few days, That's how I feel after learning about this sentence. All of her friend, every family member, anyone who has ever once passed through her life and is aware of her existence, wusped.
Maybe.
Oh, you think that was a gambit?
I think that was a lot of work to do something that he could just tell her he was going to do and she would never know.
It's not work for him. He's the emperor.
Personally, I just would have concocted the story. She's never leaving. She's never going to not know.
I don't think there was anything concocted about that. And I will be thinking about this for a long time.
Well, the second part, he definitely is going to do.
Oh, yeah.
That I'm not doubting at all.
An autonomous cell fed intravenously, shrouded and bound. Ooh.
Sensory deprivation for the rest of your life.
That hits me on a level I can't explain. And they didn't give them any cyanide teeth.
I bet she's really regretting the day that she voted against that at the secret team meeting.
Yeah, that's like Spy 101, especially when you're dealing with the Emperor. I mean, that's just short-sightedness.
That's just poor planning.
Yeah. A soul incapable of change is incapable of salvation. And Day alludes to that maybe being something Cleon would have stood for, which I always wondered, because we see a softer side of Cleon, I thought, when we see Cleon the First speaking with Demerzel when they're building the Star Bridge. And I always thought it was odd how iron-fisted Empire seems to be in the clones.
In the few examples we've gotten, the softening seems to come in that last couple of years. Because even Dusk is, like you said, very iron-fisted, spare the rod and spoil the child kind of mentality until suddenly he's not. And we've seen it once in our current timeline and once with Cleon the First. So it's not a very large sample size.
I think Dusk is testing Day here. He's been testing Dawn the entire time. And I'm sure he's had his own suspicions, maybe about the both of them this entire time.
Interesting.
But he's saying, I'll let Day decide because it's his role, but I know what he's going to decide. And when he goes against him, this is why you should never have left. A Cleon hasn't left home base in centuries. And then they fist fight. Slapbox.
Like a couple of brothers at Thanksgiving. Do you think, however, that Dusk knew he was testing Day? Because to me, he was so sure of himself and so sure of Day. It was like a wait till your father gets home moment. Like, I can't wait. He's going to show you. You better cut 2 switches. And then Dad says, boys will be boys. And number one, you have just embarrassed me in front of the boy because I've been going on and on about how this is not okay. And you just said it's okay. And number 2, I do legitimately believe it's not okay. Change is bad. I don't think that went how Dusk was expecting it to.
Maybe he was subconsciously testing him. But it doesn't matter. Demerzel takes the choice away from both of them.
Boy, does she.
So do you think we get some Asimov robot laws here in the background when Dawn runs to her and says, please don't let them kill me?
No, not in that way. I think this is another example of her essentially exploiting her programming. I do believe her number 1 rule is practically her one and only rule. She is loyal to Empire. And so if she can in any way convey something as being anti-Empire, she can take matters into her own hands and do an execution. And I wonder how much of that has to do with the logic, but I guess I should just assume her logic is as close to flawless as possible.
Dawn is deposited into the bug zapper. We never filmed this, but there was something that we had talked about back in, I think it was like episode 3 or 4, which we reviewed all season. So if you want to go back and check those out, maybe do.
If you're feeling nostalgic.
We had talked about maybe when Brother Knight is picking his outfit for his final day, they talk about the threading in the clothing. And he says,
the blue, I think.
Knight is vaporized and his ashes are put on 14's baby head. Right. And Demerzel lifts Brother Dawn into the crowd. Mm-hmm. Well, when we see Dawn, Cleon the 14th, get vaporized here, I don't know if you noticed, but his ashes were quite gray.
I did notice.
Not blue. I think the fabric in the final day clothing dictates what color your ashes will be. Just wanted to get it out there. Shadow Master explains to Day that the alterations to the DNA have been done before Dawn was born. They altered the source.
I have no idea what their procedures are.
Sloppy.
They're definitely not cloning each Cleon after it gets popped out. That would be madness. They definitely have a bank, a culture stock. That's definitely where you're going to want to hit if you can. However, I'm not really sure how they did it in such a way that they aren't identical mutations. They, I guess, hit random on the zapper.
Day smashes open Cleon the First tank. Why? Why'd you do that?
Because they're angry.
I mean, I feel like there are levels of anger, and the repercussions of those like fit into what your reaction should be. And I feel like the repercussions of this are big. I mean, isn't that going to expose the body to, that's got to be the stasis chamber, right?
You think that they are retrieving samples from the original corpse of Cleon the First every 15 years?
No, I don't. But I do think that desecrating the original Cleon of the genetic dynasty is, that's a big move. And Dusk is already upset.
Day is sitting empire. I don't know that he is touchable. I legitimately don't know. This is going to be hard to explain. Everyone is cracking at this point in time. Demerzel literally peels herself.
Wow, yeah, what a scene.
So remember earlier when I said tensions are high? I had no idea.
I had no idea that this universe crossed over with the Terminator universe.
I mean, I suspected a little.
That's a T-1000.
Yeah, straight up. You can't quite tell when she just does her cheek flap.
No, you can't.
It's this right here.
Gale and her
138 years later.
Gale and her intrepid escape pod.
Trusty, rusty escape pad.
The little escape pod that could.
60 bajillion light years away.
She's on a brave little toaster journey out there across the universe. She's got the vacuum cleaner attached to the side.
Not anymore. She lost that in re-entry.
Yes, she did. She lost a lot in re-entry.
It can float.
But it cannot.
But it cannot boat.
Yeah. There is no engaged jet boat mode.
We were just waiting for her to order engage propellers.
Yeah.
It's like a little 007 escape pod. Are those both different movies? It's a good thing this pod comes with a boat, because the second she gets out of the pod, it plummets to the floor.
I love the animation of the boat unfolding and then the oars just appear out of nowhere.
And then how do you get the oars to connect? You
don't
click them into place.
You can see the button on them where they slide into each other.
We're going to over-engineer this.
They have to have an automatic collapsible connector.
Sheath.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Thanks, guys.
But the bras, still from Kohl's.
Still from Kohl's. Straight off the rack. She's got a little fish finder with her.
Right.
So she can find the fish.
Yep.
And she stumbles across a visual beacon, yes?
Yeah.
It's not that hard to see. It's just...
very fortunate she had a clear boat.
And landed right there on the whole planet.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but yeah, it's a little fortunate.
The Buddhists have a saying that being born as a human is similar likelihood to if the entire globe was covered with an ocean and a hula hoop was floating on the ocean and a sea turtle happened to come up and poke its head through the hula hoop. And so when you're feeling glum, just remember a turtle poked its head through a hula hoop, and that's why you're here. It's supposed to make you feel really grateful, but it doesn't do shit for me. It's a beautiful image.
Yeah, it is.
And that's kind of what happened here.
I bet it does a lot for some people.
I hope so. And she dives in, strips down, dives in. We know she is a great breath holder. Y'all, I pretty much always hold my breath when someone on TV cannot breathe.
You should do it through Poseidon. That movie. Wow. Kurt Russell almost really drowned on that movie.
Fun fact. I'm not sure I've seen that one.
No, it's not good. Don't bother.
I made it until she got to the pod and opened the door. And I was like, Trying to catch the bubbles because I was out of air. I didn't catch any.
Like Sonic
Like
2.
Sonic, yeah.
I love that level. It's so frustrating, but I still love it.
That's what I was
I
gonna
think
say.
I just love the imagery of it, like the way the leaves are and the pillars.
I like the graphic of when he drowns.
Yeah, when he faces the camera. Oh, yeah, we don't get to see Sonic face the camera too often.
No.
Yeah.
So I drowned. I did not rescue my daughter from underneath my clear boat.
Gale does.
Gail is a great holder of breath.
She's proved it many times.
Yeah. It's established. It's canon. And then they meet. I don't have anything else to say about it.
There's a couple. So
I knew you would.
before she dives down, she has to have her moment of devastation, decimation.
1/10 of her heart is broken.
She plotted the course when she left Harry. She knew how long it was going to take. I mean, maybe it would be such a powerful feeling, but she knew what she was going to find there. I mean, it's more than 200 years at this point. And the seas rising was already a problem when she left.
We know what is happening to our planet right now, but I guarantee if I got to transport back here in 200 years, I would be flabbergasted. I would be floored, even though I know it's going to be really bad.
It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. Scary, particularly scary on a water planet.
Why?
There's nowhere to look for anyone. It's just open water everywhere.
It already was that.
Maybe I have a water phobia. I don't know.
Interesting.
Not a big ocean guy.
Oh no, the ocean is terrifying.
Yeah.
Don't go out there.
We get to see more YA Gale here when she shoos away the
stingrays.
The
'cause
stingray.
She's too glum.
Yeah.
She doesn't want any cute friends right now.
no cute stingrays right now.
Oh, guys.
My family's been gone 200 years. Go away.
Could you not right now?
I'll play with you later. When she goes down there and she pulls out whoever's in the pod, as soon as you see the back of her head, we're like, oh, there's Salvor.
And
She has a very distinct haircut. Like, it's braided in the back. It's shaved and high up top. We know it's Salvor.
they're up on the pier and she's all shrouded. And they're like, who could it be?
I'm
Who could
waiting.
it be?
I'm waiting for someone. I crash landed here a century ago.
Who? Harry? Is that you, Harry?
And then they reveal, oh, it's Salvor.
What?
Whoa.
I thought it was Raish.
Looking no worse for wear.
No.
That must have been a very graceful crash.
Well, termite don't crack. No need to age rapidly, especially if you're dating a 70-year-old that looks like that. Her skincare routine is probably on point. I should appreciate this show. This is one of the few times that they don't feel the need to have every female character put on a full face of makeup every single day, including when they're like going out to maintain the force field. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, good point. We leave our whole show. All of Foundation ends on the Prime Radiant returning to Gale
Back in her hands at last.
for no real reason, I don't think.
Do you think that Prime Radiant's going to get them off that awful planet? You think that Prime Radiant's going to feed them?
Not a lot of options for them. I mean, Gale knows how to survive on Synax.
She did 200 years ago.
I don't know.
You think she's going to eat one of those stingrays?
Yeah, definitely.
Before or after she plays with them?
After. Gotta let them get big and plump first.
Season 2 is just going to be 10 episodes of the two of them castaway style on Synax.
I love that movie.
They're not going to do anything for Foundation. No news of Empire. It's just going to be a mother and a daughter reuniting and getting to know each other, even though they're like the same age.
Salvor's gonna get an abscess tooth. Gale's gonna have to use the hairy knife to knock it out.
So much better than having to do it yourself.
I'm just curious what we're going to get of Empire when we return. I guess we spoke about it a little bit. I think it's perfectly within reason for them to come back to Empire with a whole new slew of clones. I don't know. I guess they can't with the integrity of the DNA in question.
They could start us off with 20 and 21 and 22 and give us some exposition about how it was rectified and
Oh, I don't think they'll be able to fix this.
how it was addressed.
Okay, gotcha.
This feels quite anticlimactic for a season finale. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, and we had said earlier in the episode that it felt like an epilogue, like halfway.
I think they paid more attention to creating a blank canvas for next season than to putting bows and rivets on this season. And I think that's why it feels a little unbalanced to me.
I hope you're right. I would like to hop into a little more action, like maybe some more not action necessarily, but I would like to hop into some new characters. Like, let's get this timeline moving. Let's see how this war is going to play out.
I really want to know how they get off of Synax.
Yeah. I'm not going to let myself get hung up on that. I know that Gale knows how to take care of herself, and Salvor is very capable.
I agree.
They're going to be just fine.
Talk about anticlimactic. If the two of them just perish, never heard from again. It really is. They just cast away.
Yeah, they go halfway through season 2 without even coming back to Salvor or Gale at all. It's like, we never knew what happened to Salvor.
You think Hugo's going to stick around?
Yeah.
Do you think Hugo's going to date Mary?
No.
I do.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. First of all, it's less of an age gap. He's still quite a bit older than her.
Fair.
He loves Salvor so much, he's definitely going to have the hots for her mom.
Okay.
You can see it in those piercing blue eyes. Next stop, Momtown.
Well,
He's going to wait a respectful 7 months. On that note,
I guess that's our review for episode 10, the finale of Foundation.
finally, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for being here with us for this. Thank you for being here with us. I don't know what I was going to say.
Please join us next week where I explain some of the gems and duds in this transfer from page to screen.
Yeah, we have some other things we've also been talking about doing. In particular, we're going to be catching up on Invasion this week, and we should be caught up by episode 8, and we'll finish that out as it unfolds.
Are we going to share that experience with the internet users?
Yeah.
All right.
Come back for that if you're interested. If you enjoyed this content, leave us a like and a subscribe, and let us know down in the comments.
Yes, please.
Alrighty then.
Upon awakening.
Upon awaking. Triple blessings.